Hi, everybody. You have run smack dab into what I call the Nibiru Dream Team night. I have tonight with me Scott Cione. Hello, Scott.
What's happening?
He is from the Nibiru 2016 Nibiru Planet X channel, and Wayne Steiger. Hello, Wayne.
Hello, Steve. Hello, Scott. Hello, Jeff.
Wayne has his own YouTube, Steiger channel, and he also works with me on GNN. And then finally, Jeff P. Jeff, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing great. How you guys doing?
Doing great. And we've also invited a couple others that couldn't make it tonight, and we'll try to get them on future Dream Team episodes. But right now we have we were asking Bob and also Chris Potter, who could not join us tonight. So the reason that we've come together, everybody, is because we've seen more and more that people, don't really understand how much we collaborate in the background. And so tonight, we decided that we were going to bring some of our best photos forward from each one of our different channels and share them with you, the audience, on all of our respective channels. So, Scott, I think you're first.
Okie dokie. Let's see here. Let's get into this screen share.
Scott Cione, Nibiru Planet X channel. Over 45,000 subscribers.
Yeah, we're actually about 3 people away from 50,000.
Congratulations, Scott.
Yeah, it's been a long, hard road. But anyways, this photograph, I forget whenever I had this photograph come in. This was sent in by a subscriber way in the beginning, maybe October, and they were viewing a planet that was off in the distance from the moon, and the lady thought that it was possibly a flare, a lens flare or a light flare from the full moon. And she has a pretty sophisticated telescope with the laptop and the photography equipment, and this is what she came up with. And you can see craters here, here, here. I mean, they're just pelted all over. Now, some of the little markings here, that's just dirt on the inner lens, microscopic dirt. But we've seen this planet now, especially me and Jeff, we've seen this planet consistently in photographs for months and months now. And
does it predominantly show up orange in your experience, Scott?
What's that?
Does it predominantly show up as an orange orb when you see it with your naked eye?
Kind of.
Oh, and I have the honor of welcoming Dave Dobbs, famed Nibiru researcher and tracker of one of the objects that we're going to be looking at tonight. Hey, David, welcome to the show.
Is Dave with us?
So it might be some audio problems. He'll hook it up.
He'll figure it out.
Now, this was a photograph that came from the Australian webcam that me and Jeff toy around with quite a bit. And this came from Bondi Beach in Australia a few months ago. And I was pretty floored at what I saw. I actually have the video portion that I did my video with, but you can see once again that striped planet right here at the top. And one of my subscribers also pointed out that it looks like there was something here also. However, that just might be, some of the flaring from the sun, but there's no doubt that when you look at this, it's not a lens flare. It's not a, whatever the terminology they use, light refraction, something in the housing of the camera. That's all crap. This photograph,
do you
once
think
again,
same object that you saw that you had in the first one?
yes, correct. I'll just flip back to it. You could see the lines, everything matches up with what we saw. And I think I have one more photograph of this. This was just taken in a different filter to try to bring out the coloring in the photograph. And one of my subscribers actually screenshotted the photograph from my video and enhanced it. And I mean, you could see the light, the orange light shining on the object. So since when do lens flares receive reflections of the sun's light onto the lens flare? You know, so this doesn't make any sense. I didn't even entertain the idea that that would be a lens flare, because in the actual video, the video was pretty awesome. You know, you can see the movement of the sun, and you can see this object fading into the picture. And it didn't follow the sun like a lens flare would. And what I try to explain to everybody is this is a very large object. It's in deep space. So just think about it. When you look up into the sky at night, you can see planets. You can see the moon. These are large objects in our sky. Yes, you can see them. And this object just had the right lighting conditions near the sun for it to be illuminated in the sky that day. And I mean, I look at this photograph all the time because I think it's just absolutely amazing. And this photograph was taken with a telescope by another subscriber. Once again, you can see the striped planet. It clear as a bell. And something that we haven't captured before with this planet is what looks like a small moon. Another object right here. And it's not a lens flare. I mean, these are very, very detailed. I don't want to say super high resolution, but, you know, as far as this object is away from us, this is one hell of a photograph. And it's not a lens flare, you know. So, you know, again, the mystery deepens. And then we catch this photograph from another subscriber with a pretty good telescope. And this photograph was taken, and Steve, you know, me and you will remember this situation forever. And this is when the Office of Naval Research fake YouTube channel filed the copyright strikes against us for uncovering some information that pertained to this notorious image. And once again, this may have been some type of a reflection from the stereo ahead, but as I dipped into this more and more and more, looking at that image and then comparing it to this image, I started looking at this very high plateau, is what I called it, this land formation right here. And as I zoomed into it, well, let's take a look at this picture. Same thing. Here is this very high, large plateau of land on this object. And as I looked at it further and zoomed into it, and there it is. So if that was a camera glitch, that camera glitch had 3D definition, you know. And this is what, you know, we uncovered, and they wanted to take us down for this, because there's no way, shape, or form that that's a reflection of the sun. I'm not buying it. I never did. I never will. And once again, you'll see this large plateau of land that appears in this photograph. It appears in the blue photograph. And it appears in the subscriber's photograph right there. And the same type of what I called like a cap, like a North Pole cap on this object. And it all seems to match up with what we were looking at on these photographs. And once again, you could see up here, it all matches. it all matches. And this large plateau of land, I just keep going back to it. And this was, to me, this was one of the biggest finds that, that we've come across. And I mean, we've had a lot of photographs, and pictures. And, Jeff, you'll appreciate this one. This is what looks like our Fresnel lens.
Right.
And this photograph was taken by a lady driving down Interstate 5 in Southern California out of San Diego. Saw this thing in the sky, what it looked like it was oscillating, and she literally pulled over and took her cell phone and zoomed in and captured that photograph. Wow. And this photograph has forever stuck in my mind. It's not a planet. It's not a star. It was 3 o'clock in the afternoon in Southern California.
Yeah, and we catch these discs, these sky discs that we catch moving sideways all the time in many photographs as well. Hey, Dave Dobbs, it's good to have you.
Hey, Steve, you're looking well, man.
Hey, man, thanks, brother. You look great too, and thank you for joining with us. And I thought maybe we'd shift our conversation over to you really quick, because as you've seen, we saw the flyover of the object of question, and I'll put it up here on the screen for everybody so they can see what we're talking about. This infamous object.
Yeah, it's not that infamous to me.
Yeah, you know it well, don't you, Dave? Dave, how long have you been seeing this particular object in the sky?
Well, before I run straight onto this, because I've just picked up on the tail end. Who was that who was just speaking that was showing that incredible footage, by the way? Because I've just jumped on board here.
That was of the Nibru channel. We also have Wayne Steiger, and we have Jeff P on as well.
Hello, Dave.
What's happening, Dave?
Hey, Dave. How you doing?
It really is an all-star cast, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Well, if anything in our minds.
It's like late at night here, or early in the morning, should I say? You know what I mean? So you've got me at a good time. So look, I've got a beer on the go, and I'm gonna toast all your good health and wish you all well.
Oh man, I'm jealous.
Scott, that footage you just showed, I mean, that is, how much corroborated testimony does anyone need? It's all just so breathtaking. I have now witnessed myself, like all of you guys, thousands of sensational shots, and they're Scott, they're right,
Yeah, they are pretty devastating photographs. Forgive me, I lost my voice a couple days ago.
So, you guys mind if I cut in for 1 second here? We're still on topic with this planet, right? Okay, can I share the screen for a second?
Please go ahead, Jeff.
Okay, that's all fresh in our mind. We saw this planet because this is what I believe. That let me know if you. Okay, you guys see my screen?
Here we go. That's a good sign. Yeah.
Okay. All right, check this out. This is identify this YouTube site, right? And that planet, I believe, is the lens array failing, and we're going to begin to see as this thing will begin to literally like expose itself. Let me just play this. Let me enlarge the screen.
So Jeff, you're saying that you think that this lensing system that I think we all agree. Does anybody on this call disagree with the fact that they have artificial lighting and lensing in the sky?
No, in fact, a lot of my photos are going to be just on that, how it's failing.
Let me pause this for a second. I did like a little drawing of this. I got a kind of like a cartoonized drawing, just kind of showing you where this device is at. Okay, here of course this is not the scale, but here's kind of like my
I saw it in your last video. I mean,
yeah.
The only problem I have with this, Jeff, the only fundamental problem I have, I totally agree with you. I totally agree with the concept behind the technology. It's just the size. The size of this thing has to be, in my logic, bigger than planet Earth. And the sightings, Steve, remember those sightings you showed from Stereo Secchie? of whatever that device with when you first started doing shows with Wayne. Is Wayne here as well? Have we got Wayne online?
We do.
Yeah,
Hey, I'm here. Yep, you got me.
We really have got an all-star cast, haven't we? So yeah, when those images of Stereo Secchier came in, it's funny. Just sorry to interrupt you there, Jeff. I saw someone recently put a kind of a debunking video about this. Stereo Secchier. There's been this bright light on Stereo Secchier. And this guy was talking about this bright light, and I was thinking about the original comments that both you and you Steve and yourself, Wayne, you made about it was a high energy particle receiver, not a light lens. And this guy was saying it was light, and I was just making a comment on his debunking, saying, "I hope you understand that this isn't a light telescope."
Exactly. Well, people don't understand what photons are.
I mean, that is the oldest argument in the world.
Well, there you go. But, thank God we got the Big Bang Theory. We can figure it out.
So, Jeff, you're saying that this system is failing, and you think this is evidence of that, huh?
Yeah, I think we're looking at that same planet.
Well, we have some aberrations from SETI. In fact, when Stereo A was working, I think that we'll collaborate what you're saying here, Jeff.
Yeah. Again, you saw my lens demonstration, how it can be bent, but I don't believe that these are your conventional lenses. And I've already shown that my previous videos, I can pull them up, that
wow.
Caltech and JPL have been working on ultra thin lenses.
What's interesting you talk about this, I read a story in 1961, after Sputnik had gone up, the Russians deployed a ultra-thin material, and it may have been us. May have the Russians and the Americans switched here, but anyway, this was the first thing that they sent up to see what they could do to obfuscate the atmosphere, and this was 10 stories high. So I'm thinking in 1961, we're looking at technology to begin to deploy objects up into the atmosphere that would be there for but one purpose, would to be deflect.
Well,
where do you think we are today?
Well, I got especially where we see all this money draining out of the sort of like out of various government, sort of like shadow government, kind of black ops and that sort of stuff. There's certainly the loss of funds.
Yes.
To kind of like wonder where that money went, whether we'd actually be able to achieve building something breathtakingly that big. I mean, this thing I'm assuming is a massive, some kind of radiation buffer as well, because if we have got a dwarf planet that close to us, I can only imagine it must be raining down radiation and all the rest of it on us and everything else like that. But it's definitely something there. I mean, there's just too much corroborated testimony. But Jeff, you were going in a direction. I didn't mean to interrupt you there. I was just adding to the sort of just talking about the sheer size of this thing that you're talking about. But where were you going with that? Sorry.
Well, Chris Potter had really kind of firmed up my belief on this. I don't know. I've seen this conceptual drawing of this from NASA actually had a patent on this, and but Chris Potter had the physicist's thoughts chime in on this, and the size, the magnitude, what it would look like, and everything with the Fresnel lens, where it's got this laser beam of light that's coming right through the middle of it, and all the attributes, how it would be at 400 kilometers in space in a heliosynchronous orbit, and the way the light would bend, and how pilots have even seen the fake sun, like airplanes going through it, being halfway in the clouds, and just all these weird appearances that we're seeing with this fake sun.
I actually have a picture from the ISS of two suns.
Oh yeah, have you seen it where it's actually turning on, right?
Yeah, I got it. I captured.
With the darkness of space, you should play that.
Yeah, I
got that one somewhere.
Sorry, when you posted it up on the channel.
Sure. Let's see.
Go ahead. You can take over the screen.
Okay. Let's see. So, to give you an idea.
Wow, that's really good. That purple one, you see that?
Yeah. So this is one from SETI, Stereo B, And
Can I ask you, Stereo Secchi B up and running now? Is it back
No.
online?
Note the date is 2007, and the reason we, just listen to Wayne. It's really good.
So we get a lot of splashback when we talk about Secchi and that the fact that we're seeing camera anomalies, flares. But my question is this. When you read the time code, and I have a full library, that these are typically in 10 to 20-minute increments. So doesn't light travel at the speed of light? So if I'm clicking frames, right, would the frame that I clicked 20 minutes ago, would that light still be there? I'm just asking.
No, I say.
I've got a different theory about all that, but go ahead.
So here's the first one that we captured of the breakdown of whatever is generating the false light. This is an apparatus that I actually captured, and you can see that it's actually smoking. There's something coming off of this back shield. So we get this.
Could that not be the tail?
Pardon?
Could that not be the tail?
Could be. Very well could be.
No,
There's
that's just like a lensing system there.
I mean, look at that. I mean, how big are those, though? How big are they? I mean, just...
I don't know. Well, you can see the horizon right here, and the horizon back here. I don't know.
You got the video footage that shows it turning on?
No, it doesn't exist. All I got was some frames.
You know what? I got that one. I could pull it up, man.
Excellent. Excellent. This is the A-Team. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, go ahead and pull that up. And
well, you guys keep talking. I recorded it. I also got a video of the black dot. You've seen that reflecting on the water, right?
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
So this is from a subscriber that sent this back in October, and I think that this is the best evidence of all he did. He lived up in New York, merely pointed his camera up because he said he could physically see this.
Yeah, we had people able to look right at it with their blind, with their eyes.
Again, I've seen these halos, and it actually, in one of my videos, I actually felt the absence of heat. And I saw the light dim before my very eyes.
Well, we also have people that are giving us the same readings that they're getting on their solar panels. They're seeing extreme drops
right
middle of the day. Yeah.
And again, the purpose of tonight's meeting is because we're trying to bring, some of our best photographs, and Wayne is just taking us through, just in case you just joined. I call this the Planet X Dream Team. Actually, we've got Wayne Steiger showing some photographs. And Wayne, this one's from the ISS, right?
Yes, it is. So I don't know how they're generating this. Given a lot of theory on this. By the way, I think these panels, these are not the typical solar panels that they have up there. These are different. I've got video on this one when they're deploying it. It takes a tremendous amount of power, right? Dave, just for instance, to be able to generate enough voltage to get this thing going. Where's that power coming from? I wasn't aware that the ISS had that type of generating capacity. But we see it all the time, and that's what I'm asking myself. Are we seeing maybe potentially a different craft up there? I don't know.
Well, we've got stuff that's, L114 is highly powerful.
Okay.
So,
right.
They
I can
can
see
power
that.
UFOs with that stuff.
Do you got that pulled up, Jeff? I'll turn it back over to you.
I'm still looking for it. Remember Jeannie Jeannie?
Yeah.
She was originally caught that, and then somebody else caught it too, but.
So I just call that, but I love this Secchi photo, and I have some Secchi footage that I actually...
I mean, you can see why they shut Secchi Stereo B down, if they did shut it down. I mean...
And I think this is one of the best UFO pictures.
Interesting, yeah. That's this one. And by the way, we're starting to see this apparition again on ISS, you guys. I've gotten a couple subs showing us this stuff again.
Amazing.
Wow. Oh, you know what I think that is? People have been calling that a UFO, but if you stop and look at it, over the course of time, it's actually a round object.
That's right.
Really?
It's like slivers of an right. It's like
exactly.
Yeah.
We're looking through a slit.
Right. Exactly right.
Okay.
That's what I always thought about that.
And that's why I think part of the cloaking device, which I've also caught on the Canadian camera.
Well, there you go. I mean, it's one of those fascinating elements that just continues to give and give and give.
So Wayne's been doing a sort of on our show on our GNN network, our new news channel. Wayne's been doing kind of a tribute to Sechi. So we had our first episode today.
I love that aircraft.
Yep.
So check out this, guys. This was from that frame I got.
Oh my God!
Is that just wild?
And this introduces the concept into this conversation too, that, I don't know how, my fellow researchers and colleagues feel, but this event seems to coincide with this huge explosion in UFO sightings and extraterrestrial and talk of extraterrestrials and disclosure. And it just seems like these two things are linked so tightly. Don't you guys think?
Yeah.
Of the what? Sorry, of the.
Well, I wish this was that broadcasting again. I'd be surprised maybe that's why they took it down. I don't know. This light just continues. And that's what's my question is that, so we're getting the frames on this. We can see this, that the light source, I don't know. I don't explain how it lasts for an hour at a time.
Well, don't forget, I mean, as we said before, is it a light source or is it high energy particles? Is stereo Sechi B?
Yes.
It's identical to A. It's identical in every way. It's exactly the same thing.
So we're seeing high energy particles, and that's exactly what you'd expect to see from a kind of well, I don't know, but I can imagine if it's a very old sun, a very collapsed sun that's gone from hydrogen going to helium, going up the periodic table, and it's going into denser kind of like I'd expect it to be shooting out. I'd expect it to have very similar characteristics to our own sun, but just a kind of a smaller version of that, a much older kind of.
See, that's what I'm right with you, Dave, is that the fact that what we're seeing here are, in fact, high energy particles. The sun is emitting it right here. We see it all the time. So how can this right here, how can that be a lens flare?
Yeah, absolutely can't be. I mean, it just can't be, and we're expecting it to see it. Certainly NASA's announcement about sort of like they've just found a system with 7 planets and this whole thing, and they're describing the entire Nemesis system, and it's just like, why they're doing this? They're doing this because they've got to keep a lid on it within their own agency. So they've got the beans a little bit else. They're just not going. They're just going to have whistleblowers going everywhere. And these guys are thinking, God, maybe we should tell people. Maybe they're not all meant to die with this. Maybe they could go to high ground. Maybe they could go to safe havens and that sort of stuff. Maybe, there must be those within the organisation that are getting very, very, very edgy now, because especially on the sighting that that came by on the 21st, which is obviously. Swings back a little bit back to the Twin Tower sighting that's just come up over where was it? It was Australia or New Zealand.
Tasmania.
Where was it?
Was it Tasmania?
Tasmania. Was. Yeah, Tasmania. Yeah. Right. And then I got another image today, Dave, from Uxbridge, England.
Uxbridge.
Wow.
West London. I think it's Uxbridge. Anyway, that's on the M4 on the way out of London.
Yeah, somebody was at a high building, and they were able to catch just the, at the sunset, they were able to catch the same object. But anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Wayne. Go ahead.
No. I mean, I just find these videos, the old ones particularly, are just fascinating because what we get today is a very sanitized version, like this one right here. Can you see that? No, let me. So this was one from the very had just launched and been up there. Look at this.
Breathtaking. I mean, how many shots have we seen of that? How many different shots have we seen of that thing?
Wow. It boggles the imagination because we know what we're seeing in this one. This is positive and negative.
But you can see that whole, because it twists around, you can literally see the whole structure of that because it moves around, and you can watch the whole formation of that. That is a complete and utter object, and that is massive.
So we have one more mystery for everybody tonight. This is the one that I can't figure out. Maybe y'all can give your commentary on this one. What is this? What is the light source that's causing this? This is supposed to be space.
What I like about what you're showing us too, Wayne, is we're showing that
Watch this.
this event has been going on over a period of time.
And people say that that is some sort of light refraction. I mean, I've done the stills on this, and there's something causing that, and there's one more to back that one up.
That was kind of a nice silence. Hey, Wayne.
Yeah.
Were you trying to? Oh, there we go. There we go.
So there's my contribution for the night. All I know is this. I was thinking this afternoon that this spacecraft, is it possible that that light is coming from behind the spacecraft, and that's what it's picking up as it's looking out into, in this case, which would be the outer solar system?
Well, I'll go ahead and just show a couple of things that I brought. I'm with you, Scott. See Scott Sione from the Nibiru Planet X channel, Jeff P., Wayne Steiger, Dave Dobbs. We're sitting here talking about Nibiru stuff, and this is the photograph that got Wayne and I shut down on WSO. I've seen that one. And then this one Wayne and I caught last summer, where we actually saw a planet apparently explode. That one was a little freaky. I'll go back and show it one more time here. And then there's this thing, and then we keep seeing this faint blue object with cracks on it. But this is your object, Scott and Jeff, I think.
Yeah, exactly the same thing.
And I just wanted to get to one more thing. Oh, this is one of the best direct captures of that planet that I saw with just a regular lens. I don't know if you remember this, Wayne. Wasn't this didn't you take a picture like this with your telescope one time?
I did. It was last April.
Yeah, and we actually got this clear of a shot of something. This was reminiscent of what Wayne took.
You know, that's when I first got tuned into what Mike Brown over at Caltech was talking about, these transparent planets that they're picking up in the Kuiper Belt. And so it's like this. If they can pick up these objects, and how they know that they're objects is that they can see how it's distorting light. What makes us think that our solar system is immune from that?
Right. And then this is a picture I wanted to share with you guys. Just this kind of shows kind of exactly what Jeff was just talking about, that little peephole Fresnel lens. It kind of shows the apparatus from a side view.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Wow, that's awesome.
I mean, you know, but it really, I'm much more of a mind that this is technology that's been put up there to help us through this transition. I really do. I really think we've got very, very, very high vibrational assistance now.
Yeah, and I also don't think that the powers that be are all, you know, to your point, Dave. I don't think they're all against us. I really don't. And then this is the we call it the WSO mothership footage that Wayne and I spent a lot of time on last summer. We tracked this thing as it came out from behind the baffle all the way to full deployment. And what makes this particular photograph so interesting is it seems to be actually shielding a major part of this Birkeland current here. And it first, Jeff P., I thought that this was part of that whole lensing system, and it could still very well be. But man, it looks like it's involved in some pretty high energy, you know, science here, in my opinion.
Wow.
You guys ever see that?
I remember when you posted it, Steve. I remember both of you, Wayne yourself as well. You know, when you were talking, I couldn't believe it when I first saw it. I was utterly mesmerized. Just because, look, that's a planet next to this. Every shot you see of it, it dwarfs the size of a planet. How is that conceivable?
I know, right?
You know, maybe they might grow this stuff in space to make these sizes, you know?
Who knows, right?
It's utterly, it's utterly breathtaking.
Here are the pictures that are blowing me away because we're getting these pictures of this red orb in Alaska. And while Wayne, Wayne and I go around and around on this, but I think it's I think Wayne and I are coming to agree that this is a actual refraction, but it is definitely showing an object, and we actually see this thing rotate, and it's just trippy, man. This is just something.
It almost looks like it's got an electric surface to it,
doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
With interference patterns, like multiple wave.
And we also have to understand right now that, when was that taken, by the way?
February 1st, yeah.
Okay, so we have to understand right now. If I'm correct with my understanding of where the system is, just by the sightings and by the geological changes and kind of the extremities in the weather cycles. On the 22nd of November, maybe we had the big earthquake in Japan, and simultaneously in New Zealand. And so we know there's something big, and I'm of the mind that we went over the system then. Now, if you can imagine, I say over the system, we were in closest proximity to it about then, the actual main Nemesis system. I'm not talking about the Nibiru going round it. I'm talking about the massive gravitational effect of going very close to it, being in close proximity to Nemesis, the dwarf planet, which I'm suggesting was around about that time. Now, if that's the case, do you remember on the 15th of August, 2016, Matt Rogers posted that sensational shot of
that white planet that was coming down the horizon?
Absolutely, and you saw all the debris in it that was surrounding it, that also followed it down equally down. It was a sensational shot. That was like, as we approach, or I should say more, as Venus approaches us, as it's been doing, and then it goes underneath us, does it? Because it doesn't go into our night sky. It orbits closer to the sun, so it sort of goes between us and the sun. So we lose sight of it. It starts off as our evening star, disappears, gets higher and higher in the sky, then drops and drops, disappears, and then suddenly pops up again and becomes our evening star. And I feel that Nemesis is doing the same thing, because it's occurring between us and the sun. And so we get to see those magnificent shots as we approach it. But as we get very, very close to it, around about that time when we saw, around about the 22nd of November, when we were really right, it was right between us and the sun, we lose all sight of it. Really, we get strange anomalies and that sort of stuff. We get big gravitational. We obviously get all the real big effects, but we actually lose sight of it completely. But now, as we're coming away from that system again, now we're starting to get it's starting to reflect light in the same fashion Venus does, and so it becomes very difficult for them to control make something that bright disappear when something that big is reflecting that amount of light, because it wouldn't be reflecting when it's between us. It's just out of view.
Okay, hate to interrupt here, but I found that video of the International Space Station turning on the sun while it's still dark.
Go ahead and take the screen, Jeff.
All right, it took me a minute to find it. Okay. Okay, so this is Genie's channel. Let's just play it. Now here is the sun here. I mean, this is the horizon of the Earth, right? Let's just watch this thing. Let's see if I want to keep your eye. See my cursor here? Keep your eye right there. Watch the sun just turn on. Now, last time I checked, the sun should come from underneath the Earth and slowly turn on this whole thing. We've watched these sunsets before. Let me see. I'll fast forward this a little bit. It's the craziest thing here. Okay, here it goes. You see it? It's turning on right here where my cursor is.
Charging out.
Yeah. And this is what we see when we've seen other footage of the space station. I think this is like on a long arm, or this thing just like turned on. Look at
this is part of the apparatus that Wayne Steyer was taking a look at last week. Wayne, if you remember, that's that same apparatus.
It is. I got collaborating photos. Look at that. There it goes.
This is what I'm talking about. No, this is above it hadn't even risen. I mean, come on. Now go watch some of the other fake stuff, and like that's why I think this thing's on a long boom of this arm, and they just position it way out there. I mean, I could be wrong, and you've already caught two of them. Maybe there's more of them. and maybe they turn two of them on in harmony. To me, that looks like one of the sun halos we see on Earth. That Steve, you had mentioned that first. That looks exactly what we see on these so-called sun dogs.
I'm starting to think that this huge red halo, which, by the way, we had a huge halo again today. I'm starting to think that it might be diffused light from all this system, and that's what we're seeing, is that halo is actually diffusing light. What do you think, Jeff?
Yeah, I think it diffuses it like a light bulb diffuses it. Now, like, I've been watching these halos getting darker and darker now. Again, my theory is it's so that this thing maintains a sunset. Now, here it looks like we're still seeing a shield here. See it right here along this edge? And the thing is turning off. And well, it's like that's just a test fire. They didn't think the cameras were on. I mean,
Yeah.
go figure.
New to this subject, you just jumped in and you found yourself and you're looking at all these images going, what the heck's going on? You're with a group of people that believe that there is a brown dwarf or some type of star with its own solar system that's been interacting with our solar system. Some people call it the Nibiru system. Some people call it Planet X. Other people call it Wormwood. We just call it a pain in the ass. And you're with five of the people that look at it a lot here. So, Jeff, did you have anything else you wanted to show before I take the screen back over?
Yeah, I just want to show you this quick sun halo because to me, I'm only going to show footage if it's actually even more phenomenal. It's at the very end of this video here. That just show you the darkness and the total absence of light. And unlike any other of the previous halos, this thing is literally dark. And with this cloud right in front of this fake sun, that's what I'm calling it. And Chris Potter did a really good one showing why we see the double rings. It's because of the double atmosphere mirroring from the behind the sun. So we get two of these. It's
unbelievable. What a good piece of footage.
Isn't that insane?
That is insane.
I mean, I guarantee you these people were not feeling the heat of the sun at this time.
It is an amazing. I saw it. You just posted this the other day, didn't you?
Let me yeah. Let me wind that back a little bit. Let's see when I went to show you the different Fresnel lens. This is my infrared camera.
Yep.
Oscillating up. I have plenty of photos of that. Anybody with an FLR camera can see this. Let me see that footage one more time. I forgot to have it zoomed in.
Yeah, and if you haven't seen it to this level, it is ominous when you see it. I've seen it in person.
I'll bet you that when these things come in close, I'll bet you that we would get everything from cloud punches to birds freaking out. We'd get hailstorms that we've never seen before, like in Texas, the fist-sized hailstorms. And did you guys see, was it MB33? He was showing over the high Sierras, winds almost 200 miles an hour.
Where was this?
Yeah,
You want to see it?
yeah, in the Nevada Sierra Mountains, David, we have been seeing tornado F5, F3, F4 level winds.
I'll pull it up.
Basis on top of the mountain. Yeah, unbelievable.
He left a link for it. It was on CB. Mike from Around the News, I guess his name is, right?
Mike from around the world.
Yeah, it's like he's stumbling on the stuff. I go, man, I wonder if he knows what he's really looking at here, because it's the only thing is Planet X is the only. Here it is.
Oh, you finally find it when I cut you off.
Go ahead, keep going, man. I'll get it.
I'm going to show this one because this is one that I've heard you talk through before. This is from those German photo cams, you know?
Yeah. Right, yeah.
This is Scott Cioni. You're being awfully quiet back there. Could you just say something to let us know that you're still alive? Because you're the only one that had an attempt on your life in this group so far.
No, I'm still here. I'm just resting my voice and watching you guys. Go right ahead.
No, but the reason I wanted to bring you in, doesn't this remind you of the photograph of the object that you had in the beginning?
Yeah, pretty much. Where did you get this? Where did you get this photograph?
It's off one of the photo webcams from Germany.
Yeah,
you could see their chemtrailing.
Now, I wanted to pull this one up. This is from December 2015. I was actually watching this all Skycam when they shut it down. But I actually feel like I got a straight up look at the Nemesis one day. And this is the photograph that basically changed my life, I think. Because when I saw this, I said it was undeniable, you know.
That's what that whatever that is the exact thing that Matt Rogers caught on the 15th of August. See the cloud around it and everything else like that. I think maybe, I don't know, maybe it is also very possible that it was Nibiru, but I don't think so. I wasn't expecting Nibiru to be as big as that shot, and that looks much more like it.
Well, you know, as we're looking at this, Steve, I keep on thinking about the Hawaii weather cam out there that we're getting, that, you know, we did the analysis on with the red dust.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, this is one of my favorite photographs because, you know, if you'll notice, the Earth isn't dark on that one side. It's dark with red highlights. So that's really the amount of particulate that I think iron oxide particulate that we saw. This is about from 6 months ago.
I wonder if they put a Geiger counter on that, if it would go off. Because it's supposed to be radioactive.
And then this one was from Hawaii, but I also got pictures from England with the same effect. And this, you know, I don't know if this is an atmospheric effect or anything, but I've never seen anything like this until the last year.
Yeah, I mean, that does look like, because you got to remember that this isn't, in my opinion, this isn't a light source. This is a lot of gas around a celestial object, which is being affected by photons from the sun and are being caught up in the particles around that, and that's why it's illuminated. In the same way, you know, if you look at bright light. If you're in a dark room and someone points a bright light at you, you see the bright light, and all around the bright light you see darkness, don't you?
Yep.
But when we look up and see the sun in the sky, we see the blue sky all around the sun. Now, the blue sky all around the sun is photons hitting our atmosphere, and what happens when photons hit our atmosphere is a photon will literally split oxygen, a pair of oxygen. And those two single oxygen atoms will then oxidize absolutely anything. And they'll even oxidize oxygen, as in O2, and become O3. And that's the formation of ozone. And that process...
The oxygen molecules together.
Exactly. And that process creates an enormous great light in our skies. So it's like that photonic energy, when it collides with and this process is done, it literally creates light in our atmosphere. That's why we don't see black around the sun. That's why we see blue. So it's very difficult for us to see anything out in space, because we've got this enormous neon light in our atmosphere being created by this process. And when we see a tail of something, we're seeing that same process that's happening in our atmosphere, happening in the tail of something like that. And that could quite easily be the tail of Nibiru, and you're seeing it approaching us and the tail dragging off behind, or the other way around, or the tail is behind it and it's moving forward. But the light, the gas, is what's actually where the photonic kind of like plasma process is actually occurring. Maybe.
Well, yeah, when you're talking about that, Dave, I'm thinking about the high concentration that they've been recording over the Pacific Ocean of ozone. And they're scratching their head trying to figure out what's causing this. And I'm wondering if you had the density of ozone, how that would also interact with particularly an outside object brushing up or near even the temposphere of the planet.
Well, I mean, there's lots of reasons why that could be occurring. I mean, we can only guess. We don't obviously know, and I don't know, and I haven't got enough of a science brain to fully understand in any way, shape, or form. But nonetheless, we're all doing our research, and we can understand that because of the process of what's happening under the Pacific, there's lots of earthquakes going on under the Pacific, and it's creating all this moisture, and this moisture is coming up. And of course, when moisture is released from the water with heat, extra oxygen is obviously increased. So we're getting the more gas that goes up, and the more gas that's kind of released into the atmosphere. Obviously, the more oxygen. It could be that it's things along that line, and it could also be the fact that the sunlight is being reflected off this Nemesis system. So we're being bombarded effectively by two suns. So much more photons are hitting us that it could also increase the amount of ozone as a result of having so much more sunlight hitting us at this time, because we're getting
on that topic, if all this, the Nemesis star and all this heating of our planet, doesn't the heating of any element lower its magnetic field?
Honestly, that is, I don't honestly know, but it's one of those things. This is like a hot plate under the Pacific Ocean. As far as I can see, it could be. We've seen a 1 degree rise in temperature in the last kind of 10, 20 years or something. In the last 10 years thereabouts, I think. And we haven't seen a 1 degree temperature rise in general, sort of like climatic temperature overall. So we're seeing this massive rise in temperature of the Pacific, of our oceans. That it's marginal, but the amount of moisture that was released as a result of it is absolutely staggering. Which
I know. Well, California, did you know it had a blizzard in Hawaii?
Yeah, I read about that. So
I was listening to that today about the snowfall in Hawaii. That's pretty radical.
I've got that article with the wind. If you want to share the screen for me, just for a second.
Sure.
This was from the MB33 channel. Let me just take me 1 second here. Okay, check this out. This is from CBS. CBS 13. High Sierra winds see gusts just under 200 miles an hour.
Yeah, that was tornado, guys. That's F3.
Dude, look at that. Alpine Meadows 199. I think there's only. I'm telling you, I'm from this area. These mountaintops are like 10 and 12,000 foot elevations. And they've never, ever in my lifetime get anything close to even 120. Now, so there is a pole shift and a dropping of that jet stream speeds. Anyways, go ahead. I just thought I'd pull that up.
No.
Can I ask you? Talking about storms, can I ask you, did you notice that there'd been a report? I'll take the screen over in a sec, actually, and I'll run through the Twin Tower thing that leads up to the 25th. But just by the by, did you guys hear the report that radiation levels had spiked over Europe?
I heard that some guy in New York had taken the lens cap off his Geiger counter, and it was hitting like 4,000 parts per second or something.
It's funny. It's funny whether it's. I've got to be honest with you. I saw so many reports. So many of them were pertaining to sort of like Russia's potentially test-fired a nuclear bombing
over in Europe.
Iodine 131, you guys are getting pelted with over there, and that only comes from either a nuclear accident or nuclear fusion.
I think it might be something else. I tell you, because I tell you, Wayne, I did an interview with Rex Bear on Leak Project about 3-4 months ago, maybe a bit more. And in the interview, I said that one of the things that's going to happen, and this wasn't a message from me. This was a message. Actually, it was me reiterating a message from Kim and Cody and Kim, who run a little channel called they run a website called the Star Lodge Healing Center, and they're channels. And I got to see his messages about Nibiru, and they're really quite amazing. And I got in contact with him, and I said, look, your messages are very unusual because you're talking about channeled messages, and they're not always so popular and that sort of stuff. But your messages are so beautiful. Just don't stop doing them, because they're gonna reach the people who really want them. And he said in one of his channeled messages he got, this was like about a year ago, he said that as Nemesis goes over us, as the main system goes over us, it's going to create massive storms. And these storms are going to create these massive, great funnels, water funnels, and they're going to suck up vast amounts of radioactive water from the Pacific to it's going to be like directed to try and draw as much of the, it's like sucking snake venom from a snake bite. It's trying to pull the radiation. I mean, did you hear that they said that? I mean, I've heard this is kind of secondhand information, but various people are saying different things. They're saying that a machine melts it only lasts 6 hours at Fukushima, and then it melts. Humans die, so they can't really do anything about it. You know, they can send I don't know how many machines of various types, tanks, fighter jets, bombers, and all the rest of it into war to bomb sovereign countries. But one machine only lasts 6 hours, so they can't do anything with it. And you're just like, guys, how many machines do you need? If every country was to come and provide one of those machines, how many 6 hours worth would we get? But back to this kind of radiation, I'm of a mind that this fits in exactly with what he was saying, that we would get these massive storms and it would start raining radiation. It would be sucked up. It fits in exactly with what he said. It's far-fetched, but we know we've got a massive radiation leak over there. How to get there? We've got these massive storms in the Pacific. Nemesis is in the southern hemisphere of our solar system. It's affecting mostly the thinner crust areas where we're getting most of the earthquakes, like under the Pacific and things like that, where it's a basalt floor, very thin, full of, the Emperor Hawaiian Seamount Chain, which is the center point of the blob where all the earthquakes are. That's the biggest volcanic region we have on this planet, really. It's just a massive, great line of active volcanoes running from Hawaii all the way up to the Russian Kamchatka Peninsula, which is kind of in between Japan as it comes down on the east, and British Columbia and Alaska and all that on the west, and it runs down the middle. And the Emperor Hawaiian Seamount Chain, which is completely volcanic, runs all that is just completely going off. That is what's boiling up our oceans. That is what's causing these massive storms.
All right, Dave. So go ahead, guys. Does anybody have any comments?
I wanted to talk about these storms for a minute coming across the Pacific, because I've been watching these for quite some time. Just before the whole Oroville Dam situation, and just last week they said that they were going to start firing up HAARP again. But watching these storms and watching the activity in the Atlantic Ocean as well as the Pacific, and it looks like to me that they fired that damn thing up a long time ago, because this Pineapple Express, I'm fully aware of that. El Nino, El Nina. I've been watching weather for 22 years, living in South Florida, and watching hurricane watches and warnings constantly during the summer. You get to know weather quite a bit. And now all of a sudden they say that they're going to fire this HAARP up. Well, we know that they can manipulate weather, but here's the big conspiracy. And I've talked to Jeff about this and a few others. There's the big philosophy that they want to, I hate to say this, but they want to get rid of the people in the state of California. Why? It's simply because we know that they have their bunker underneath the Colorado airport. Where would be the first place that people would run to if there was a cataclysmic event directly on the West Coast in California? These people would try to make their way as far east as possible, therefore increasing the population in the Denver area. And then they're going to fire up HAARP.
States, yeah, Arizona, Idaho, all those, yeah.
Exactly. Now they're going to go ahead and fire up HAARP, and they're going to attempt to melt all of the snow in the Sierra Nevadas and bring all of that water down into that Shasta Reservoir, which is much larger than Oroville. And Oroville's already damaged highly.
Yeah, it's ready to go.
So what would be a nice quiet way to start this event? Let's do a trial run in Oroville. Let's see how much damage we can do, and then let's heat the atmosphere up. Let's bring down the snow melt, and now we're going to have a cataclysmic flood in the entire mid-basin of California. And what are these people going to do? Where are they going to go? There's nowhere to go. They would literally, in order to escape any type of cataclysm like that, there is no other place to go than east. You have to go east. And then, this all ties in all of a sudden. Now there's the big push on deporting illegal immigrants.
Oh, no, it's
Well,
just-
those are just more mouths that they would have to feed, house, and give medical attention to. So I'm thinking,
You actually think that this immigration crisis is related to Nibiru then, huh?
I absolutely think it is, because a very good friend of mine a month ago, she lives in Yuba City, and she was telling me that a friend of hers started dating a guy who works for a big excavation and contracting company in California. And he told her, he said, listen, I'm going to be gone for about 3 months. We just got a big government contract to start building an emergency earthquake evacuation center similar to a FEMA camp in the Apple Valley. So if you take a look at the Apple Valley, where it is situated right over the mountains. If you go over the mountains, you're right there in, I believe it's Arizona. And if you take a look on Google Maps or Google Earth, where this Apple Valley region is, there is a huge flat plot of land where they have to have this earthquake evacuation area set up in 90 days. 30 days of that has already gone.
I mean, I don't think we're going to get that much more activity for another year now. I really feel as if we're past the main system. I might be completely wrong, but I really feel as if we've passed the main system, and now we're getting the sort of like, now we're going to get mostly kind of like.
You know what I see in this that we're not really talking about as well as Fukushima. All right, they're measuring 580 sieverts an hour. That story now has been suppressed and buried. And I keep on hearing, Scott, what you were just saying on the folks on the West Coast, that, all right, 2 events. We have wind currents that move east to west. We got the ocean currents. Dave, just picking up on how you were saying in the evaporation, well, if the Pacific Ocean has been radiated, increased radiated, wouldn't it not pick up those isotopes as well and transport them across with weather patterns?
Or with ocean currents, yeah.
On those,
That's exactly what I'm saying, Wayne. That's exactly what Cody and Kim of the Star Lodge Healing Center, that was their message entirely, that it's going to get picked up. We've already seen quite a few these water spouts or water funnels, whatever they call them, where you get these tornadoes over water, and they literally suck up vast amounts of seawater, and they suck them right up into the jet streams. And this,
yeah.
And by the way, Steve, you were showing the Gulf Stream a minute ago. Did you see that it's cut off from the Gulf?
Yeah. This is the proof right here. I mean,
right there. Look at that, guys.
I had people telling me that the Gulf Stream was, John Moore had made a big deal about that. It had left the Gulf, and
Man.
this is big. This is a big deal, man. That's our conveyor belt there.
somewhere's going to get really cold very soon.
Higher Truth Channel was saying that the warm air is coming above the equator and into California.
Wow. So we got the perfect scenario. You've got snow that they can't even measure because it's so deep.
Yeah, we're
Now
talking
you're
like
going to get the hot
45
air bubble over it. Yeah.
You guys are bumming me out, man.
Hey, listen.
Check this out. Can I share the
Have
screen for
another
a second?
drink.
Anyway, I'll finish up with this picture. This comes from Mark Reed. Now, Mark is a avid researcher down in Australia. We probably all know him, but he gets his telescope out every so often, and he got a picture of the planet with his telescope one day. Legit. This is legit.
Wow.
I
Where
mean,
was that? What constellation was that in?
At the time, I think it was in Orion.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And he was, this was from Kincumber, Australia, near Perth. And then, of course, David, we're going to talk about this before we let you go, obviously, but then this is the big story. What's funny about that story, too, guys, I don't know if you noticed this or not, but I went to the Weather Channel. I'll just show you this before I turn it over to you, Dave. Let's get back to it here if we can get it.
Is this how it's tied to Hawaii or something?
Yeah, watch this. The story made the main news, man. I mean, it's on every main
Funny how
channel.
they downplayed it too.
This. Turns out the fireball was actually planned. So as soon as I saw this, I thought, David, you are going to have international status here pretty soon if they keep this up.
A plane, really?
But anyway, that is absolutely not a plane, you guys. I can show you right now. David, you've been tracking this thing for a while, haven't you?
Yeah, absolutely. So, look, how do you let me have the screen? How does that work?
I'm going to stop sharing, and then you just go ahead and start sharing.
On the bottom is that little green icon.
Share screen. Press that one, do I?
Yep.
Yeah, you got it, man. You're on.
Am I on?
We see you.
So if I go, can you see what I'm doing at the moment with my screen?
No. I think you gotta click on share screen, and then you'll say share whole desktop, and then you click on the bottom again, share screen.
Share screen, host disabled, attendance screen sharing.
Oh, that's right. I got to rehost him again. Just give me a second.
It happens to me all the time.
Yeah, I know. Wayne really loves me for this. Go ahead and I'll try it.
And so I've got share screen, host disabled, attendee screen sharing. Okay. Record, invite. Where do I go into? Sorry about this, guys. I'm always a bit like this. Every time I come onto this for the first time,
Where it says share screen at the bottom?
It should whole desktop or tab, I think.
Yeah, hit the share screen button, I think.
Yeah, but then you show how much of the share screen.
Oh dear me, I'm so sorry.
No, that's all right.
Share screen. Just says host disabled, attendee screen sharing.
No, I didn't. Wayne, I didn't.
I know. I can actually see. I can take control as well. So
I'm resetting you here, Dave. Now try it.
No, same again. What can I do? Record, chat, share screen.
Hit share screen.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm sorry, guys.
Oh.
So, I don't know how to get around that, apart from I keep getting the same box.
Yeah.
Maybe you can start the last video, Steve, that I put up.
Go to your YouTube site
and just pause it within like a few seconds of the video. And we'll just stop rather than going through my whole thing. Maybe it's a blessing. We'll see it as a blessing. The last video I put up on my channel, and within the first few, within 5-10 seconds of it, you'll see this thing come up.
So hi, Bob. Hey.
There's Bob.
So, hey.
Would Bob let me come to his house hang out too?
Absolutely, every day of the week, mate. Every day of the week. Your heart out. I haven't got anything on the screen here. I've got your desktop, but I haven't got the video that you're looking at.
From your YouTube site?
Yeah, let me put it again. You see it now, man.
Yeah, and it would just run for about 5-6 seconds, and then you should get a flash of it, and then there. Hold it a sec. It will come on any second now. Hold on. That's me with Bart, who's a lovely. He's an English guy, French, but his parents from England, but he's been brought up in France, and he's a very, very good friend of mine. We're there in his Soundbringer studio. Here we go. Pause it there. Now, can you imagine this shot appeared on the 21st of January, the day after Trump's inauguration. And this appeared over Mexico, and the Mexicans saw this as the fist of God. Now, if you can imagine, I've been predicting this would pass, and it would be this size. You'd see a sphere like that. You'd see the tail running behind it. Right at this time, okay, I was 4 days out, but I've been predicting this for the last 18 months. It would be this big on this flyby. And then if you keep playing it for a little bit, we'll just run through it. Look at the size. You got that. It started there, and then it got to this. I mean, absolutely sensational. That's literally Nibiru with the tail coming behind. and then it you know, to predict this to the day, to say, and then it turns into this. And if you can pause it here, Steve, what you can see, one tail stacked on top of the other, if you like, sort of thing. You can even see the light emitting between the two, right down at the front of the tail there. Now, this is exactly, you know, if I'd said when this thing had arrived, that's Nibiru, blah 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 blah. I mean, it's very difficult to believe as it is, but to say beforehand that this is exactly what you're going to see, to show you probably so close to sort of like 10 to 12 flybys, all 200 days apart, and run these corroborations and say, look. For me, I can observe the entire Nemesis system. I can observe all the 7 planets that supposedly orbit it. But my attention is obviously the one that's mostly going to affect us. And that's why I focus mostly on what I call here Nibiru. Obviously, some people call the whole system Nibiru. Some people call Nemesis the dwarf planet Nibiru. To me, this is Nibiru, and it is orbiting the dwarf planet.
Right. Dave, do you think that this object is this object too, just in a different form or different view?
No, I don't. Do you remember? So on the 11th of, or I think it was on the 11th or the 5th of August. I can't remember, the 5th or maybe the 5th of August, 2011. We got a shot of Michael. We got my first shot of the tail. And then we've had 200 days thereafter. The second shot, there were two two-tailed objects in the sky, and then Becky Lewis on the 29th of March 2016 caught Nibiru and another two twin-tailed objects flying next to each other. We know there's 2 out there, and so there's one that's closer to Nemesis, you know, the next one in, if you like, and that I believe is, you know, do you remember, Jeff, when you caught those images in the lead up to around about, you were showing this what looked like a sphere in the sky round about June, July, August. There was a sphere in the sky. You could see it was dark. It was kind of more in the night sky. It was coming not from the sun, between us and the sun, but it was occurring early in the morning or late at night.
Yeah, that was the setting. That was in England, wasn't it?
Yeah, there were various shots, and quite a few shots, I think, from German webcams. But you saw the size of it then, and we were in very close proximity to it. For us to be in
second one, right?
Yeah, for us to be in such close proximity to it, it's not going to be that tiny shot that you've got there. The only thing that can be is that second twin-tailed object. So we're seeing various objects, and that's the second object. In my opinion, the penultimate video I made, I talked all about that, and I gave the timings. That second object has a rotation. When Nibiru has a 200-day rotation period, this second object, I'm estimating, is around about a month, maybe a bit more, maybe a bit less. But that's the second object, and we've had a few sightings now. It can't be this object here, the Nemesis, because Nemesis is just too close to us now. Even though it's gone past us, and we're not going to see it for another sort of like another 350, 400 days now. We will see it, but it won't really affect us for another 350, 400 days. We've got a big chunk of time to make lots of videos and talk about it and lots of preparations. But all I can say to you on this front, if you are not convinced that there's something up there with all the evidence, like this post from Dill Martin,
that was insane.
Yeah, this was pretty good video.
The evidence now is so fantastic.
Well, I don't believe that to be Nibiru, though. I think that's one of the red planets, because in my sky observations of the planet is so fast, it would not have been in a frame this long.
No, I think that's Nemesis. I really think that's Nemesis.
Oh, okay.
That's not
Their
Nibiru.
Nemesis to always be low on the horizon too.
It was too early for Nemesis. It was too early. But all the sightings of it, all the sightings that we had, Nibiru wouldn't have been that size at that time. It's almost certainly not the Blue Kachina because it hasn't got the color of the Blue Kachina. I'm convinced. I don't know, obviously, but it's moving. That I'm convinced that that's the Nemesis system. That's
so crazy looking.
That. I was getting you flash through a red. That can you see that red kind of sunset that we had, where you flash past
to the left, probably like 25 minutes, a little more. Yeah.
There. That's it. That there is that's Nibiru here. They're coming in that red sunset shot. I mean, here this second sun. I mean, this is just sensational as well. This was really posted by Tom.
Where's that at?
Boston.
Boston. Wow.
What year?
This is just gone. This is all very recently.
January 2017.
Wow. Look at that.
There was a guy in Massachusetts that had another second son, and he was freaking out in his video. You guys watch his video?
No, who is that, Jeff? Who is that?
He kept saying, "That's not the sun. That's not the sun," and he was praying and stuff, and he was just really freaking out. But
look at that.
To the right-hand side. The sun's actually to the right-hand side. I mean, whatever that light source is, millions of people saw this. There's been so much corroboration now. It's you have to start wondering. What the hell is going on? But
it's cognitive dissonance, is what it is.
It is, and it's a massive denial. But
Yeah.
I never believed when I first heard about it. I got to be honest with you, I never believed. But there wasn't the type of sort of anomalies that we have occurring right now. But I wanted to read a little bit of the Kolbrin Bible. Someone sent me an excerpt of the Kolbrin Bible. It's all about this twin-tailed object, and I wanted to read you an excerpt from that. I don't know if you're interested in hearing a little bit of an excerpt. I was so shocked when I read it.
The destroyer.
It's this. I don't know if you know anything about that. It's quite new to me. I've heard it mentioned before, but apparently when Henry VIII burnt down the Glastonbury Abbey, which was the cathedral in Glastonbury, a lot of things were kept in the abbey, and they entered the kind of public domain, if you like. They got distributed, and they became part of folklore in England. And I didn't know much about it, but there's a little excerpt. Can I read you a little section from it?
Please do, and then we'll start winding it down after that.
Okay, let me just see if I can find it.
Hey, Steve, before we start winding this down, my computer's running real slow for some reason. But did you guys see the information that was sent to me from the guy in Chile, who's the retired astronomer?
Yeah.
If you could pull my video selection up, I want Dave to see this entire Nemesis system in motion.
All planets.
All of them. Telescopic from an observatory. And the trolls went after me whoa, man, they were.
Which one?
Pan down, keep going. Keep going, keep going. Keep going. Do-do-do.
You make a lot of good videos, Scott.
Hold on one second there. I think you have to go up a little bit.
Space cameras?
No. Wait. It has a title on it. Astronomers Now. No, it's
This one?
yeah.
Geez, I can't believe that you're actually making money on this. Just kidding. All right. Anyway, where do we go, Scott?
It should be right in the beginning.
After the intro.
Yeah, these were his observations. This was actually from from observatory in California. This was in 2012. He started observing it in 2008.
Oh, that picture looks familiar.
No, this isn't it. This isn't the video.
Not even the right video?
No, it's probably further down. But he actually sent me the short video footage of them. They were actually able to image the entire. It's further down, I think.
What did you say the title was?
Hold on. Go slow.
But anyway, Dave, did you want to read that excerpt while we're looking for this?
Yeah, you have a little look for that. Okay. So it's chapter 3, the destruction and recreation of the Cobram Bible. Like I say, it's not a conventional Bible as we understand it. It existed pre the Bible that was brought in by the Catholic Church, as I'm understanding it. It's a very old piece of text that was suppressed by the Catholic Church, and like I say, got released by Henry VIII when he basically hung, draw, and quartered the sort of like the Glastonbury abbot, and he had a gold throne built where he watched the execution, and then he burnt the actual the abbey and released the information. So, okay, chapter 3, the destruction and recreation. It is known, and the story comes down from ancient times, that there was not one creation, but two, creation and recreation. It is a fact known to wise men that Earth was utterly destroyed once and then reborn on a second wheel of creation. At the time of the great destruction of Earth, God caused a dragon from out of heaven to come and encompass her about. The dragon was frightful to behold. It lashed its tail, it breathed out fire and hot coals, and a great catastrophe was inflicted upon mankind. The body of the dragon was wreathed in a cold, bright light, and beneath, on the belly, was a ruddy hued glow, while behind a trail flowing of smoke. It spewed out cinders and hot stones, and beneath, and its breath was foul and stenchful, poisoning the nostrils of man. Its passage caused great thunderings and lightnings to rend the thick, darkened sky, all heaven and earth being made hot. The seas were loosened from their cradles and rose up, pouring across the land. There was an awful shrilling trumpeting sound, which, we've heard loads of the trumpeting sound as well, which outpoured even the howling of the unleashed winds. Men stricken with terror went mad with the awful sight in the heavens. They were loosened from their senses and dashed about crazed, not knowing what they did. The breath was sucked from their bodies, and they were burnt with a strange ash. Then it passed, leaving earth unwrapped, with a dark, glowing mantle which was rudely lit up inside. The bowels of the earth were torn open in great writhing upheavals, and a howling whirlwind rent the mountains apart. The wrath of the sky monster was loosed in the heaven. It lashed about in flaming fury, roaring like 1,000 thunders. It poured down fiery destruction amid a welter of thick black blood. So I'm assuming this was going through the tail. So awesome was the fearfully aspected thing that the memory mercifully departed from men. His thoughts were smothered under a cloud of forgetfulness. So I'm not going to read it there, but any further, because we've got a whole discussion here, and it goes on a little bit. But it's chapter 3, the destruction and recreation. It really goes into a great detail about this occurrence, about this twin-tailed object I mean, when I discovered it, I've had various subscribers send it to me now and saying, Dave, you've really got to check this out. Dave, you've really got to check this out. And I read the whole thing the other day, and honestly, it is such an intensely amazing read.
Yeah, Wayne and I had to like put down the microphones for a couple days after we read that chapter.
Yeah, the Destroyer is it's a humdinger.
It will get you. Well, anyway, guys, I just appreciate this first kind of Nibiru Dream Team session. We're going to keep inviting other people like Matthew and Chris, and try to do this a couple times, a quarter if we can. And I just wanted to thank you guys. I know that it's a serious time. I think we as researchers all know that something's up right now, and why don't we just go around and just kind of give final words? I'll just start with you, Wayne, and we'll just go around the table.
Yeah, I think that the evidence is clear. I think that there is something definitely becoming much more undeniable. I think the technology, whatever we've tried to deploy, I don't know if they're there to protect us or to help us or what it is, but there's definitely, I think it's going to get, Dave, you said what, another 400 days, you think?
Well, I don't want to put fly-by dates on it, really, but in terms of actually, because it's put an enormous stress on me. But we know it circles around Nemesis every 200 days, but we also know its overall position now. We know that Nemesis is kind of at the moment it's round about the kind of like November-ish position as we go around the sun. It's going to obviously move about 2 weeks. In terms of our calendar to where we're next going to experience the Nemesis system, but we can say from about the 25th, it's our next experience, our next closest point is going to be somewhere between 350 days to 400 days from that last sighting.
There you go.
You've been right. See, the thing that one of these passes we might get nicked or hit, and to me that's just keep an eye on that, guys. Heads up on Dave, because Dave's been right all along. So,
well, I've got I've been right 3 times in a row so far. I've been quite. People say, "Oh, it's a jet, it's a this, it's a that, it's an everything else of that." To the Mexicans, they saw it as the fist of God. To me, it's the fist of God. What can I tell you? I'm with the Mexicans here. That's the fist of God. It's a very powerful thing that none of us, there's no technology on this planet that we have that can deal with that. The only way we can deal with that is with the benevolent forces of great powers, such as, if you like, God and celestial powers. We need to invite all the help we can in right now. And open ourselves to that, and I've sort of come in there, and so that's my real farewell on this. Actually, just don't forget to invite a lot of light and a lot of love, because they're trying to bring us into a lot of darkness now and a lot of hate, especially to hate.
And this is part of the reason why I want to do these types of discussions, to show the world that we don't have conflicts between us. We might not agree 100% of the time, but we as a community are all seeing the same thing. These are sane men that I'm talking to. These are well-educated men that I'm talking to. Wayne, you want to finish up, and then we'll move to Scott?
Yeah, I mean, like the Hawaii footage from the night before that MB showed. There's something out there. I think that we're putting our defenses to maybe protect us on this, but heads up, that's what I got to say. I'm just going to say, by the way, it's an honor. I enjoyed this. I look forward to doing it again.
Me too.
Scott, do you have some final words for us, man? You have a great channel. You do great work bringing us news on Nibiru. What are your final thoughts?
Well, I found that video real quick. It's I just want you guys to see this. If you could pull it up real quick, if you could just pull my channel up, and we actually went past it a couple of times. I just didn't see it.
All right, here we go. All right.
Just go down slowly, and it is, keep going. It's right below the Cascadia alert.
This one?
Right there. This man's retired, but he's been investigating this for quite a long time. And I've been in contact with him now for about 4 months. He was very, very leery about releasing any of the information. He has journals, the whole 9 yards. If you take a look, this is if you go back to that red screen.
Right here?
Yeah. That's actually taken from the actual computer screen at the observatory. And if you let it play out, just these little clips, that is the actual system itself in full motion. The
How
planet of
long
the
ago did these photographs get taken, Scott?
What's that?
How long ago were these photos taken?
This right here of the actual complete system was in 2012.
Yeah.
But he's continued to document. He just retired. He's a professor of astronomy at a California university. He's since retired back in August when his wife passed away. He moved back to Chile. And that, look at. I mean, we've seen that one photograph from 1994, which shows the actual cross, literally the cross section of these planets. Well, you're looking at it in motion.
Yeah.
And these are several photographs and video that were taken from the observatory. And him and another associate, they would, I guess, in a way, kind of sneak to get this type of footage. Now, looking at the photographs, the short clips of video in time lapse, watching those planets orbiting around its host star was just, when I saw it, I was floored.
It is sensational, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're just too close to it now.
And the way that he described things to me was, well, the way he described it to me is he said, listen, if you just, if you place a plate on a table and set an orange in the middle of the plate, and then take another plate and hold that up, a smaller plate, like a smaller saucer, and hold that up vertically, but with a small tilt. And that is the way that this small mini solar system is inside of our large solar system. And he flat out told me, I says, well, how big is it? And he said, it's not big compared to, our solar system. It's quite small, but the planets orbit very rapidly. And, he was going to get into the timings of their orbits. And he said they're very erratic. And he said that there are points in time where you cannot see any of this system. It's periodically at the observatory. He has all of the information documented in his journals from 2008 all the way till August of 2016. He has a ton of information that he's going to go ahead and continue to release. The man's 70 years old. But looking at this, just when he finally forwarded this to me and I saw this, I sat at the computer for 3 hours just staring at this.
And there's a straight-on shot of Herbolculus or Nibiru or Nemesis, right?
Yeah, this was taken with the infrared technology at the observatory. And the very first photograph that you see with the blue computer, the blue computer background, he literally just took a photograph of it with his cell phone. It's all the way back in the very beginning. Right there. Go back a little bit more. Right there.
That's him taking a picture of it on the observatory equipment.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And it just blew me away when he finally sent this information into me. I just couldn't get over it. And A couple of the other photographs that he's going to be sending, he said that you can clearly see a few of these planets. 2 of these planets do have moons. You could see them in this photograph.
Yeah.
He said one of the moons is so close to the planet that it almost looks like it's touching at certain points. And remember, this is all time lapsed, but it's just, you know, when I got this information, man, I was pretty floored.
Wow.
And it just goes to show you that what they hid from us in 1993 and 94 is true.
Hey, Scott, you ought to show that video that showed what Astro Boy was calling a moon.
Oh, well, I re-released that.
Astronomy
video.
Live, right? He actually called it a moon. What an insult to our intelligence.
Yeah, I actually released that video today
A moon.
of the SDO footage from 2007. It is right there.
Yeah, Wayne and I dug this up with on the what was it? The Yellow Rose from Texas channel too.
Oh, by the way, she's back online. She came out of the hiding a couple weeks ago. Released the video. But again, you know, this is
To me, that's
Astro.
one of your best videos, man.
Yeah, and Astro Boy telling me that
It's the
this
moon.
is our moon orbiting the sun. And I have
I'm not going to take issue. You know, I don't need to take issue with an individual. All I can tell you is that we looked at that 100 times, I think, and every time we look at it, it appears to be going around the sun. That's all I got to say.
yeah, I went back today.
Look
And
at the
I-
size of it. The
I
speed
picked
and the size is impossible.
Yeah, I picked up and I analyzed every single view from every freaking camera, and it is in every shot. If you just keep letting this play, you will see it from every view, every single one of them. And, you know, just thinking, oh, well, is it Mercury? Well, Mercury, as you can see, in its retrograde for 2007, it's not even in the picture.
Yeah. So what
So
other
this-
live, Astronomy Live have to say about us?
Oh, I stirred up.
That's so freaking unbelievable. I wish you could pull up the email, whatever. That's just unreal.
Yeah, I stirred up a lot bringing this back and redoing the video with all of the additional information. If you keep letting it play past this point, you will clearly see, you know, these planets in every view. Again, look at that. You can see.
Look at the size of that. How could that ever be the moon?
Yeah, and look at the interaction with the sun.
Oh, yeah. It proves to me another thing, too, that this thing is orbiting not only Nemesis, but our sun in a highly eccentric orbit. You got to check out the eccentric orbits. It comes around the sun like a comet.
I mean, but I'm looking at the timestamp here. 2007.
Yeah, when our critic Astronomy Live looks at it, he cuts the timestamp off.
Yeah. Isn't that convenient?
Yeah, there's the timestamp. I took each view of every single view, all the way through, man. It's on every single camera. And you can see the interaction with the sun. Now, if you keep on letting it play, you'll see the next view. And, well, this will play through one more time because I just kind of zoomed in on it.
See, I knew the best thing was going to be to do with this group is to try to end this call.
Blowing us all away again.
Here you go. Watch this.
Oh my God! No!
That's awesome.
What do we know that travels that speed?
Exactly.
Oh, only something from not our atmosphere, from our solar system. Look at that eccentric orbit. That's
Yeah.
insane. You said this is a 3-day
Look at it
orbit.
rotate. You can actually see it rotate.
It's roughly about 3.5 days, if that.
Yeah, this is one of the much closer ones to the Nemesis system. That's not Nibiru. That's not the second one in. The one that prompted us to make this video. The one you showed earlier. That's just come up over Australia. That's got a 30-day. This is one of the real close ones to the system.
Well, I guess he's still holding firm to his lie at being the moon too.
Yeah, it shows up on every single view. Every one of them.
Dude, how could the moon ever evolve all by itself around the sun? Absolutely impossible.
Exactly. And
Well, we would see this repeat every month. I mean, come on.
And by the way, if it was a moon, that's called an eclipse.
exactly.
Well, no, even if it is though, here's the thing. I just like showing it because I know that it pulls astronomy by the chain.
I mean, look at the size of that. We know these space probes, the stereo and SDO. We know they're all different positions. Getting different views of the sun. So immediately the trolls were trying to say, "Oh, this was part of the SDO eclipse season." No, it was not.
No, this is not even close.
Exactly.
Lunar charts.
I mean, just so we don't get into too much trouble with the trolls here, and to run with it, we have to also understand that Stereo Secchi is like, I don't know if it's ahead of the Earth or behind, or it's either ahead of the Earth slightly, like a quarter, or behind the Earth. I can never remember which. Stereo Secchi B is on one side, Stereo Secchi A is on the other. I don't know if they're in the. I don't know how forward or how close or far they are exactly. So from the Earth, is it possible? I can't see how the moon could reach across and do that. I'd be interested in anyone to sort of like. I think it'd be quite interesting. We saw the timestamp there. It'd be interesting in the next video to actually go onto Solar System Scope and just see where exactly the moon was at that time.
Yeah, pull that up.
It's in the video, but you guys could go ahead and pull it up. It's
okay.
Definitely not the moon.
I just want to show you guys this. You can find out where stereo A and B is relative to the Earth on this chart. Go back to different dates. I just wanted to show it to you. So this is where everything's at right now, and this is where the spacecraft are. Stereo and stereo B, it shows where they are. See, and shows them. That's just another way to find the spacecraft if you want to see where they are.
I mean, but we have to understand that its position is a constant, as I'm understanding. Earth's position, it stays in a constant position, as into Earth's position. I think I'm correct there. It's
absolutely correct. So both of these spacecraft stay in a synchronized orbit around the sun, right?
Okay, so if it's viewing the sun, and the moon is going to go somehow in between Stereo Secchi A and the sun. It's going to be moving at the same speed that we see the moon moving, surely.
Well, the moon would have to go all the way around the sun for it to be seen by those spacecraft. That's what we're saying. Yeah. I mean, but this planet came like this in front of the spacecraft, not like this.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, very, very sharp orbit. It just raced right around. Right around.
And so the Earth is way over on the side. There's no way that the satellite could have seen the moon.
Exactly.
No, I don't think so either. I can't see how it could have moved across.
Anyway, guys, we could go on all night. I know this week's going all night. We'll do this again soon. Anyway, to finish up, Wayne, did you have any final thoughts to share?
No, I'm blown away.
My final thought is I'm just honored to be with you guys. I'm glad that you came on. I'm glad that we did this together tonight. And I hope we do it again soon. Look, we just keep pounding the drum of truth. We're going to win. And my big thing is we got to start learning how to love each other again, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah, just be kind to one another. That's what I say.
That's what I say, too. All right, guys. Have a good night. Thanks for joining in.
All right, guys. You take it easy, every one of you. God bless.